The night is quiet, too quiet. Then, in the distance you hear it. The sharp crack of a rifle echoes across the fields, followed by another and another. Dust rises as shadows move through the moonlit brush. Within minutes the chaos begins. 40 wild boars, fast and furious, tearing through farmland as hunters take position. It's not just a hunt, it's a battle to protect the land. Because in places like Texas, Louisiana, and Florida, this isn't sport, it's survival. Music. Wild boars, also known as wild hogs or feral pigs, are among the most destructive invasive species in the United States. These animals aren't just tough, they're incredibly smart, adaptable, and relentless. Once introduced to an area, they spread faster than almost any other species. Their intelligence rivals that of dogs, and their ability to survive in nearly any condition makes them a nightmare for farmers, ranchers, and wildlife managers across the South. They can live in forests, swamps, grasslands, and even near suburban neighborhoods. They eat anything: roots, crops, insects, carrion, even small animals. And because they reproduce at an astonishing rate, they quickly overrun entire regions if left unchecked. A single sow can have multiple litters each year, often with 4 to 12 piglets at a time. That means a population can double in just a few months, creating an unstoppable wave of destruction that tears through farms, destroys natural habitats, and puts native wildlife at risk. Today's footage captures what that fight looks like in real time. Within just 4 minutes, 40 wild boars are taken down, an intense and necessary response to an ever-growing threat. It might look brutal, but for farmers whose livelihoods depend on their crops, this kind of population control is vital. Hogs cost U.S. agriculture an estimated $2.5 billion every single year. They uproot corn, soybeans, peanuts, and vegetables, digging through soil like living plows as they search for food. Their rooting and wallowing behavior tear apart fields, destroy irrigation systems, and leave the land scarred and eroded. But the damage doesn't stop at the farm's edge. Wild boars disrupt entire ecosystems. They compete with deer and other native wildlife for food and habitat. They destroy ground nests of birds, eat amphibians, reptiles, and even small mammals. Their digging turns up native plant roots, spreads invasive weeds, and muddies rivers and ponds, reducing water quality for everything that depends on it. In short, wild hogs are ecological wrecking balls, and they're not slowing down. So how do you fight an animal this clever, this resourceful, and this fast-breeding? The answer: with precision, coordination, and a deep understanding of their behavior. Hunters play a key role in population control, using specialized equipment, night vision, and thermal scopes to track these elusive animals. The scenes you're watching show what happens when strategy meets necessity, teams working in sync, taking quick shots as the herd scatters through the field. Every second counts because wild boars learn fast. Once they sense danger, they disappear into thick cover, often traveling miles to find safety before returning under the cover of night. These animals don't just act alone. They move in groups called sounders, which usually consist of females and their young. Adult males tend to roam solo, but when food is abundant, they can join up briefly during mating season. This social structure makes population control tricky. Remove one group and another can move in within days. Leave them alone and their numbers explode. That's why wildlife experts emphasize consistent, large-scale efforts, because hunting alone isn't enough. Across the southern states, farmers, ranchers, and wildlife officers are joining forces to manage this crisis. Hunting is the most visible method, but it's part of a much bigger strategy. Landowners build reinforced fences to protect crops, while biologists study migration and breeding patterns to predict outbreaks. Trapping is also used to capture entire sounders at once, reducing the population more effectively than individual hunts. In some areas, thermal drones and night surveillance systems help locate herds before they strike again. And while it might seem like an endless battle, every successful hunt makes a difference. Each boar removed means fewer crops destroyed, fewer native animals killed, and less environmental damage. But it's a constant struggle, because wild boars are survivors. They adapt, learn, and outsmart traditional control methods. That's why awareness and teamwork are essential. When local communities understand the scale of the threat, they can work together, sharing data, strategies, and technology to push back against this invasive force. Still, it's hard not to respect their resilience. Wild boars are powerful creatures, muscular, intelligent, and fearless. They can run up to 30 miles per hour, charge without warning, and fight off predators like coyotes or even mountain lions. Their thick hide and dense fat make them tough targets, and their cunning instincts make them some of the most challenging animals to hunt in North America. But when they invade farmland and tear through ecosystems, respect turns into a fight for balance. Every night, teams across the U.S. gear up with one mission in mind: protect the land. They set up ambushes, track movements through thermal scopes, and move in silence until the moment of engagement. The sound of gunfire may echo through the night, but behind it lies months of preparation, scouting routes, studying wind direction, and mapping feeding grounds. Each hunt is a mix of patience, precision, and quick decision-making. The footage you're watching isn't just about the thrill of the hunt, it's about restoration. About saving fields that feed families, protecting the environment, and reclaiming the balance between humans and nature. Wild boars might be unstoppable in numbers, but through skill, cooperation, and relentless effort, we're keeping them in check. In the end, this isn't just about hunting, it's about stewardship. Every successful control effort means safer farmland, healthier wildlife, and a more stable ecosystem for future generations. The fight against wild boars is far from over, but as long as there are people willing to stand guard, the land still has a chance to recover.